Hi everyone, welcome to this presentation which will cover the elements of the Level 2 Accounts or Finance Assistant Apprenticeship. Let me introduce myself. So I'm Karen Nichols and I am the Tutor, Learning and Development Coach for Finance Apprenticeships and courses here at PETA Training and Consultancy. So we launched our first Level 2 cohort in September 2023 and they are currently just doing their revision part, ready for their second exam later in this month. This now means that we are ready to launch our second Level 2 cohort on the 1st of March 2024. With this in mind, I wanted to create some content about the apprenticeship that would help you and your organisation to build your finance function that you need to support your future business plans. This content is also relevant to any individuals who are keen to learn about what real-world knowledge, skills and behaviours, otherwise known as KSBs, that they will learn by undertaking this apprenticeship and where accountancy could take them in their future careers. Starting any new learning can be initially overwhelming. So here at PETA Training and Consultancy, we are a small training provider, so we have the capacity to adapt to each of our individual learners to ensure that they are supported throughout their learning journey. We also work very closely with our endpoint assessment organisation, the Association of Accounting Technicians, probably better known as AAT, and we do this to ensure that our programme is right for every individual. Okay, so let's take a quick overview of the key facts of this apprenticeship standard. So the apprenticeship and the mandatory qualification are both level 2, which is the starting point for any aspiring finance professional. The total duration is planned for about 15 months, starting, as I mentioned earlier, on the 1st of March 2024. So the practical period is 13 months. This is when they are going to be learning all of the knowledge, skills and behaviours. And then we've got the additional 2 months for the endpoint assessment organisation. So what sort of individual would look at this apprenticeship standard? They are likely to be someone who is going to be responsible for maintaining an efficient and accurate finance function, and they will be assisting the team of accountants, but they will be doing the junior accounting duties. So depending on your business requirements and what your organisation does, this will vary on the sort of jobs that they will do. But overall, as a baseline standard, we would expect this to include basic bookkeeping accounting activities. This could include sales or purchase ledgers, ensuring that the payments and records are correct, and data entry, and using your specific app stack for your organisation. Everyone will use a different accounting software package and have different applications to carry out the processing, some of the data entry elements of things. So every organisation needs a finance team, so apprentices could potentially work for anybody, and this should be discussed with our recruitment team for their preferences during the recruitment process to ensure that there is the best fit for them and any potential organisation so that we get it right first time. So apprentices could work in-house for an organisation or for an accountancy firm. So they will spend approximately 13 months in the practical period where they will undertake studies towards their Level 2 certificate in accounting and learn their workplace role and produce a portfolio of evidence to meet the apprenticeship knowledge, skills and behaviours. So in undertaking the Level 2 certificate in accounting, apprentices will attend site on a weekly basis and undertake regular exams. So this is to ensure that the mandatory qualification is complete prior to their end point assessment. Let's look closer at what the Level 2 certificate in accounting entails. So there are 4 modules that all receive a separate grade, which then lead to the overall grade for the qualification. The first module we will cover is Introduction to Bookkeeping, where apprentices will learn to understand how to set up bookkeeping systems, process customer and supplier transactions, process receipts and payments, and move these transactions into the ledger accounts. This covers the basics of double entry bookkeeping that finance professionals will use on a daily basis. The second module we will move on to is the Principles of Bookkeeping Controls, and this will build on the first module, and apprentices will learn to use control accounts, reconcile a bank statement with the cash book, use a journal and produce trial balances. The first two modules empower apprentices to process the accounts of an organisation to the point of trial balance prior to financial statements being produced. The third module is the business environment and is one of the newer modules incorporated into the 2022 qualifications. This module is tested with a more written approach and will enable the apprentice to understand the principles of contract law, external business environment, corporate social responsibility, along with ethics and sustainability. They will understand different business entities, the finance function and what it does within different organisations, how to give good communication and information. The final module is Principles of Costing, where apprentices are taught to understand the cost recording system of an organisation and also to use these techniques and provide information on actual and budgeted costs and income. This module also supports the use of Excel software to achieve the calculations within it. The endpoint assessment is regularly referred to as EPA. This is simply the final testing of the knowledge, skills and behaviours learnt throughout the apprenticeship. So there are a number of requirements that you must meet to be able to enter into EPA at the end of your practical period. So you must have met a list of criteria. So the first one on here is that you will have passed the mandatory qualification, so in this case the level 2 certificate in accounting, and will have uploaded your statement of achievement to a portal called Smart EPA, otherwise known as SEPA. So you will also have been on the programme for a minimum of 12 months and 1 day. That is the minimum requirement of the apprenticeship standard. And you will also have achieved your level 2 functional skills in maths and English. You may previously have already achieved these as your GCSE results, but should these need to be taken, you will have completed this study as well over and above the apprenticeship study that you've carried out throughout your on-programme time. You will have produced a portfolio of evidence and an associated mapping document around the knowledge and skills and behaviours you have encountered within your role at work, and you will have uploaded these to SEPA. You'll have carried out an endpoint assessment gateway meeting, and this will include the apprentice, the employer and the training provider. So this meeting is really a meeting just to make sure that the apprentice is ready for endpoint assessment, everything is complete and they're confident for passing into Gateway. So the decision is actually made by the employer, but the apprentice will not be forced into Gateway unless they feel that they are confident. So once we have had that Gateway meeting and signed the Gateway document, we will upload this again to SEPA and complete the checklist to ensure that everybody is compliant with the requirements. So I've been working with apprentices for over a year at this point and will guide them through this process to prevent the EPA wobble that can occur. Accounting apprentices will have passed 4 exams by this point, so are usually confident in their abilities ready for endpoint assessment. So what does the endpoint assessment entail for the level 2 accounts or finance assistant apprentice? So there are 2 elements to the EPA, so an in-tray test and a structured interview. These can be taken in any order, but I normally prefer to offer the in-tray test to apprentices first, as this is a formal exam sitting in the same format as the qualification exams at the training centre. We'd like to take these as a cohort where possible, sometimes making use of other AAT exam sittings where required. So there is a 6-week wait for the in-tray test result, which enables the apprentices to spend this time to refresh on their portfolio of evidence and practice structured interviews in preparation for the live structured interview appointment. The structured interview result can arrive within 4 weeks to complete the EPA process and receive the overall apprenticeship grade. The apprentice will then receive 2 separate certificates, one for the qualification and one for the apprenticeship, so they get double elements. So the structured interview is supported by the portfolio of evidence that the apprentice has produced. So the external EPAO assessor will take a look at all of their evidence and create targeted questions ready for the apprentice to answer. We give them at least 10 working days notice so that they can do this to make sure they're asking the right questions to the right apprentice. So the duration of the structured interview is for 60 minutes and it's done in a smart room, so online, a bit like a Teams meeting. They will ask 10 questions drawn from the question bank and adapt them to make sure that they are answerable by the apprentice based on their portfolio of evidence. There are 3 grades you can get with this, so there are fail, pass and distinction. The apprentices will have a copy of the EPA document, and for each piece of evidence we look at, we will be marking it against the structured interview grading descriptors so that we make sure that they are meeting, we are heading towards that distinction grade wherever possible. So the second part, which is the in-tray test, which is a computer-based assessment that the apprentices are totally comfortable with. They will have completed 4 by this point. They are given extra resources on the AAT learning portal to practice 2 mock exams for this as usual. The duration is 105 minutes and there are questions and data evaluations. Grades they can get for this are a fail or a pass. Again, 70% for the pass rate on this one. So overall, the apprenticeship standard can be graded a fail, a pass or a distinction. Should something happen and the apprentice need to do a retake, they have 6 months from having to take a retake to passing the overall endpoint assessment. Okay, so who is an apprenticeship for? Well, anyone really can become an apprentice as long as they fit the criteria. So I undertook my level 4 assessor coach study as an apprentice, and this has proven invaluable for giving advice to the apprentices, as they often ask the same questions that I asked of my assessor and tutor. So you can recruit for a new person to expand your finance team. So you can recruit an apprentice yourselves, or you could use our recruitment service. So I think that this is a great opportunity to be involved with the future of your next maybe finance director, straight from the word go. They could come to you with no bad habits. They'll be trained in your way to suit your company requirements, and this apprentice can work through their accounting studies with you to the level that suits you all. You may also have some excellent current employees who are keen to progress within their role. You can enrol them on an apprenticeship no matter what their age. We will adjust funding according to recognise any prior experience that they may have. So I think at this point I probably need to address the pay question due to the fact we're talking about your current employees. So whilst there is an apprenticeship wage, so currently at £5.28, rising to £6.40 from April 2024, your apprentices can be paid whatever you wish as long as it is the same or above the apprenticeship wage threshold. So if someone is currently earning a set amount with you, you can keep it at that even though they're going to be doing an apprenticeship. You don't have to drop their salary down to accommodate the apprenticeship. So this could maybe help you. So if pay rises are difficult at the current time, apprenticeships could be a great way of rewarding keen employees. Whilst it might not be a pay rise at the current time, the underpinning qualification will be theirs, which at some point will lead to a pay rise and greater job satisfaction. It's also feeling empowered that somebody believes that they are worth investing in going forward. So if you think about recruitment and it's not something that you would want to do yourself, you can ask our recruitment team to take a look at this for you. They can go talk to you about going through the apprenticeship levy or applying for funding. So who would be the mentor for the apprentice? That's really up to the individual employer. It's the person that probably works the closest with them. Doesn't have to be the HR director, the finance manager. It can be the person that is assigning that person work every day. It is difficult to start out on this at the beginning. If you've never been an apprentice, actually being an apprentice mentor might seem daunting again. With every apprentice that a company takes on, you are offered a free place on the PETA Apprenticeship Coaching and Mentoring Workshop course. So I will give links out to that for everybody. So apprentices will be also, as a bonus to them really, they will be given time off to come to the centre to do their study. And they will come in each week, so no heading to study after finishing a full day at work. I say I would have loved this when I was studying my AAT. So they get supported time off the job of 6 hours a week to come into the centre, do their study, work on their apprenticeship, and also obviously get to know, make connections with the other people on their course. So I mentioned earlier in the previous slide that our recruitment team can help you to recruit an apprentice. They will involve you in the whole process to make sure that the placement is correct for both parties. The team fully understands and can advise on using your apprenticeship levy funds or successfully applying for funding. For finance apprenticeships, please contact one of the following people. So Sarah Broughton, her email address is listed there, or Beth Bridgen, and same again, her email address is listed there. They're part of our recruitment team and they can take you through any questions for us to have a look at. Both will be happy to go through the requirements to ensure the process is as successful as possible. Okay, so if you would like to hear anything further or get some further information from us about the apprenticeship or have any questions, then please do not hesitate to contact me, knichols@peta.co.uk. So I regularly work with the recruitment team, going out to see potential employers, speaking to potential apprentices. We try and ensure that the meetings and discussions are kept to a minimum for the apprentice and employer and are as effective as possible. So if a couple of us need to be in that meeting, we can make sure that we're there to make sure every area is covered and everyone is comfortable with what the commitment is for the apprenticeship. For the accountancy side of things, please also feel free to visit the website of our endpoint assessment organisation, so www.aat.org.uk for official information. They have a wealth of information about each of the apprenticeships and qualifications on there. Thank you for your time.